Morning. I have to leave strictly by 10, which means for me 9:30. Still not feeling great, to be honest. Having breakfast at the moment. I'm just going to sit out on the balcony because this is actually the nicest weather I've had. It's always the way, isn't it? Day you're leaving is the nicest weather, but I was going to sit out on the balcony, but it's still damp from all the rain yesterday. To spare 3 minutes and I'm done, packed, ready to go. Let's go to the beach, have an ice cream and have a debrief. Let's go explore, shall we, on the last day, because that makes sense. Such a nice day today. Try and do some exposure therapy with vlogging and the fear of judgment. It's definitely something I need to work on. Go for a swim? Nah, I'm alright. Fuck that for a love. Let's go see what they do. Let's go on an adventure. How do you go in? It's a little bit windy. Decaf. Oops. No thanks. I think it's so easy in these situations where you're sitting on your own and you feel that pull to go on your phone because you feel so uncomfortable with just being on your own. It's almost like a natural instinct as a way to distract yourself from the awkwardness or judgment you might be perceiving from other people. So I had to make a real effort on this solo trip to try not to go on my phone when I was in these situations and instead actually soak up the view and take in the surroundings and get lost in my own thoughts. And there's a lot of thoughts up in my brain, let me tell you that for nothing. It was actually really hard for me, but I think it's such a good thing for us to practice and actually look up and be present in the world around us. So I challenge you, the next time you're on your own, to not go on your phone and actually take in what's around you. I dare you. Go on, I dare you. I was waiting for that to happen. I think I'm actually popping to Lidl, get some like cold and flu stuff because I left my BHMs in the car. Genuinely, who has a cold in summer? Oh yeah, that's right, that's me. So I went in for cold and flu stuff and came out with a pan of chaperone and 3 ginger shots. Tell me you got a cold on holiday without telling me you got a cold on holiday. I'll go first. Come on holiday, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Hello? I think you can hear me. Hopefully it's not too windy. Hopefully I'm not flashing you, because I tell you what, this dress is a bit of a flasher. I tell you that for nothing. I can't even see the screen. Am I in shot? Yeah, that'll do. I'm here on the beach, got a nice little quiet spot to myself, and I'm feeling rough, man. I think everyone's bored of me saying that I feel rough, but it's still there, you know? Some people have colds for a day and then it's gone, but for me, we're looking at least a week, and it's not even been a week yet. I was very optimistic to think that this cold would go within a few days. No thank you, sir. I think it was a little bit ambitious of me to think that I could... Is this recording, ma'am? Yes, it is, okay. I think it was a little bit ambitious of me to think that this solo trip would help reignite some self-love, or any kind of self-love. I can realise now in hindsight that maybe I had a little bit of a expectation on myself to feel better about life and feel better about myself, and just don't think it's that easy. I think it just takes time and effort. And so that's definitely not happened. But I can tell you one thing, it has helped me to trust in myself a little bit again, because I think with anxiety, or at least for me, anxiety makes me feel that I can't do anything. It like paralyzes me. And so like just now, I was walking past that little cafe, and there's a part of my brain that's like, you can't go in that cafe because like you don't know where to order from, you don't know what they have to order, you don't know where to sit, you don't know who busy it's going to be, blah 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 blah. And it's like, anxiety is so potent that I could look at a place that I've never been before and like completely avoid it because I have anxiety about all of those things. So I think anxiety like really paralyzes me in a lot of ways, and I think this trip has helped me to realize that I can trust in myself to figure it out. And I think this is such a prominent theme every time I've been on a solo trip. Even for example, when I went down to Southampton, or maybe I went down to London for their gig, like I trusted myself to find my way around and to like get on the right train and to like look at all of the boards and get on the platform. And I think in my mind, just naturally, I don't have that in me. I don't know, does that make any sense to anyone? I think anxiety is just like preventing me from trusting in myself, basically, because it's like just like this immediate like bubble wrap, like absolutely not, you cannot do that, you can't do that, but I can, and I can figure it out. It's like some of this stuff's not that hard. And I think especially with driving down to James's house, first and foremost, that was a big journey for me. I was like, yeah, but what if I don't know what lane to get in or whatnot? And I just trusted in myself to figure it out. Sometimes that doesn't work, by the way, especially when it comes to driving. Like there has been, legitimately, there's been a time before when I have been driving and have not listened to what the sat-nav has said at all, and I'm just following the person in front. I'm just following the person in front because they're like, oh, well, they're going in the same direction as me, so that'll do. and that has really bitten me in the arse. In previous times where I have followed someone onto the motorway, going up to a place that I was not meant to go to, like in the opposite direction. So then I was like, oh, hang on, you're not meant to like follow the person in front. I do find that though. I do find that like when I'm driving, and if the person in front of me is like taking the exact same turns, the exact same exits on a roundabout, I'm like, oh, well, we must be going to the same place. And then when they turn off at a place that I'm not meant to, I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you going? You're my guide, come back. Are you still recording? Hello? Hello? I think you are. Okay, so like going back to what I was saying, we got a little bit off track there. This trip has like helped me to trust myself that I can figure things out, and even if I don't figure it out in time, then I will figure it out at some point. I'm not a complete idiot.
Hey?
A lot of the times I am, but not all the time. And even with like simple things like going into that cafe, it's like, yeah, of course you're going to be able to figure it out. Bloody kids, who'd have them, eh? Jesus Christ. This trip might not have reignited that self-love for myself, but I have got a lesson from it in the fact that I can trust myself, that I can figure it out. And I feel like that's a big barricade sometimes, a big blocker in between like me doing stuff on my own. And it's like a reason why like sometimes I don't go out, well, I never go out by myself, like I very rarely go out by myself. I've always like wanted to go to like a different cafe or a coffee shop like around where I actually live. But I have so much anxiety about like, okay, well, where do I park? Where's the entrance? Like, what if I go in the wrong door or someone shouts at me or something? I have a big fear of people getting angry and shouting at me and like telling off. I hate being told off. Absolutely hate it. I have all of that anxiety around going to a coffee shop near me, but like this solo trip has made me think that is a blockade, and I can actually like move that because I have evidence to say that I can do that. Evidently I can. And I think evidence is such an important thing to have. Yeah, I'm just like really proud of... Am I proud? I don't know. I literally don't feel anything towards myself. I just feel numb. I get really frustrated with myself because I'm like, I want to feel proud, and other people being like, oh my god, I'm so proud of you for going away by yourself, and I'm just, I don't feel that. I wish I could, but I just don't. Maybe that's me dissociating or feeling numb or whatever. Yeah, so I feel like I have actually got something from this trip in terms of like, you can trust yourself, okay? You can, because you will figure it out. Who knows, you might not. That is also a very real possibility. Another thing that I wondered with being on this solo trip is whether I would feel that, how do you even describe it, that deadening weight of loneliness? Is that a little bit dramatic? A little bit, it's all like a vegan right now, I'm so sorry. But basically that loneliness that comes when I am on my own sometimes. And I was a little bit worried about that I would be like sitting on a beach like right now, or I would go to a cafe and feel really alone, or even just being in my Airbnb feeling alone, excluding the night that James came in, of course. But I actually haven't. There was a moment where it started to come in and I was like, actually, I don't need it, because I feel very much like loneliness is the absence of other people's presence around you. And I feel like when you can accept that you are on your own, hello? There are now people sitting next to me, so hopefully you can still hear me if I speak like this. Oh, who cares? Like, you're never gonna fucking see them again, are you? Loneliness is very much like when you really, really deeply feel the absence of other people's presence. But when you don't deeply feel that, when you're just content with being on your own and you accept the fact that you are on your own, I think that's just solitude. And I think that's how I have felt this week. I've not really felt loneliness at all. I do wonder if like years of being on my own and years of feeling loneliness has massively contributed to me being content on my own and not having anyone around me. You know, it does go one way or the other sometimes, like the pendulum does swing, and I sometimes feel loneliness really, really deeply. And other times, like now, it's actually come in handy because I'm so used to being on my own and not having people around me, friend-wise, that these like solo trips, I can handle it a lot better. Whereas if like, I feel like, and this is just conjecture, but if I did have like a lot of friends, if I had like a proper friendship group, then I feel like it would be a lot harder for me to go on a solo trip by myself and be okay with that. Potentially, I don't know. Oh man, I think the tide's coming in. Oh, I don't want to move. Yeah, I do wonder if like the years of being on my own helps me in these sort of situations. Like I just accept it because this is my normal, maybe. But then I will say, I'm starting to worry that it's kind of become a little bit of an identity, loneliness. Because in like the past year, I'd say, like ever since I did that video on loneliness a year ago, where I talked about having no friends and being socially disconnected from people, there have been people who have reached out to me. For example, like old school friends that, you know, some even like dating back to primary school days. Some people have reached out to me and been like, hey, do you want to meet up? Do you want to go for a coffee? Do you want to go for a drink or something? And this is the problem. I hope she never watches this video. I hope she doesn't, but I actually had a coffee date booked in with one of these old school friends. The anxiety was so high. I had to cancel the night before. I had to cancel because I could not bear the thought of sitting across from this person that I have not seen for years and be expected to like make small talk or be expected to talk. Because I just don't do it. I just don't have any practice of it because I've spent years on my own. It's like my small talk goes out the window. I really struggle with social anxiety anyway. A lot of you know that. And I really struggle with making conversation and like my brain just goes blank. Like I'm desperately searching around for like, what do I say? What do I say? But sometimes it just don't have it in me. I basically just have like no practice of it. And I think because I don't do it very often, especially on my own, the anxiety is so high. I guess one way to like ease me back into that is like go for walks with people. Like when people offer to go for a coffee or for a drink, it just solidifies that anxiety. That anxiety is not moving because sitting across a table from someone trying to make conversation for an hour or two just terrifies me, man. It's just daunting. I don't know how people do it. I genuinely don't. So I think a way to like counteract that would be go for a walk. Going for a walk where it doesn't matter too much if the conversation dies out because you're both walking and you're not staring at each other's eyes. You know what I mean? It almost makes me feel like I've got an allergic reaction to like meeting up with new people or people who I've not seen in a while because I really can't do it. I really struggle to do it. And then that feeds back into you're lonely, you don't have anyone to do stuff with. But if I feel the anxiety of this and the weight of this, then I'm just going to be stuck in that loop forever, being like, oh, someone wants to meet up, someone wants to go for a coffee or a drink. Oh no, I can't do that because the anxiety is so high. Oh my god, I have no friends. Oh my god, I'm lonely. It's basically just a constant loop between between loneliness and social anxiety, and I don't know how to break out of that, and it makes me really sad. It makes me really sad that I am now, in a way, actively choosing to stay lonely. And I don't mean that in a conscious way, but I mean that in an unconscious way, because I have these opportunities to meet new people and I can't take it. I can't actually do it. But because the anxiety gets in the way, it means that I can't actually take these opportunities and run with it. So I am just feeding back into my own narrative, my own identity of loneliness, and of loneliness being the theme of my life. And I think back to my childhood and I think, were there any contributing factors to this feeling of feeling different from other people and isolating myself from other people? And absolutely yes, because as a lot of you know, I have cystic fibrosis, and that is a condition that put me in hospital many times when I was a kid. Obviously that took me out of school for 2 weeks, so already I am very, very different from a lot of my classmates. But also, even in the hospital, because I was more prone to getting infections, I had to have my own room. I had to be isolated from everyone else. Things like that has really contributed to I have to do things alone. So yeah, I don't know, those are just my thoughts. I'm sorry I've been rambling for a little bit, but those are just my thoughts at the end of this little solo trip. Oh my god, no, I have more thoughts. I just realised I have more thoughts. One thing with anxiety, and I don't know if anyone else gets this, but is the overthinking and imagining in my brain this is what it's going to be like. I would close my eyes and I would see myself in that Airbnb, and I would see myself enjoying the sunsets, enjoying the beach, enjoying the sun, and I had all of these big visuals, this solo trip of what it could be like. And that is the problem with that, because nothing is ever exactly 100% how you imagined it to be, and that goes with anxiety as well. So if I'm really anxious about this trip, or the next trip, or maybe even meeting someone for a coffee, who knows, you can go over that scenario over and over again in your mind, but I can guarantee you it will never be 100% exactly what you imagined. Never. It never is. I imagine this trip I'd be doing my little vlogs and getting up early and watching the sunset on the beach. Of course that's not been possible at all because I got ill. Also the weather, you can't control the weather, so newsflash. Okay, obviously. But I just think sometimes, especially for me, sometimes I can really overthink things and imagine every scenario, and it is never like that. It's just a nice reassurance to have sometimes, especially if you're really anxious about something. So if you are anxious about a trip or a work meeting or anything anything in life, then I can promise you it won't ever be 100% exactly what you imagined it to be. Could be worse, don't you get me wrong, it could be worse, but it likely probably won't go how you imagine, whether it's good or bad. Anyway, I am actually gonna have some of that leftover pizza. The tide is coming in, so I'm probably gonna eat it quick and then move. If you have watched the last couple of vlogs, then drop an emoji of a shell in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking around and supporting me and leaving nice comments on here. I read all of them and I really appreciate every single one, as long as it's not creepy and weird. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching, and of course I will see you in the next one.